Friday to one and all. Welcome and welcome back. I'm going to go ahead and extend that welcome back to myself. I'm welcoming myself back on your behalf from my self-imposed hiatus, which I know many will start that ugly rumor, much like the Michael Jordan retirement. The first retirement was actually a suspension. This was not a suspension. Mine was a self-imposed hiatus, not a suspension from the commissioner of podcasts. I don't even think that's a person. It's not even a position. But I am back, and welcome to you, all of you who are tuning in to yet another episode, a brand new episode of Sometimes the Old Man is Right. As usual, I am your host, Lamont Ferguson, playing the role of the old man. The old man fresh off of hiatus. I am back. I was going to extend the season, but I made such a big deal over the ending and the season finale. This is episode 1 of season 2 of Sometimes the Old Man is Right. I am renewed, reinvigorated, refreshed, refined, re-cola. I ran out of Reese is what happened. But I am back. It's good to be back. How you doing? How you been for all this time? What's the good word? It is nice to be back. It is good to be home, as I just needed to unplug for a little bit of time. And by the way, I know I am 2 weeks late because I said, I'll see you on April 15th. And then it turns out I didn't come back on April 15th. It's April 29th. And I know if you were waiting, I apologize, but I've got no real excuse. This was the time that felt right. On the 15th, I was still like, no, too soon. Also on the 15th, I may have been on a ship. I believe I was on a ship on the 15th. So it wouldn't have worked anyway. But now I am back in my home for a little bit of time. I've been home for a little under a week right now, and I've got another week to 10 days to go. There is some off dates where I'm going to go out and do a little bit of road work, but it's one night. Like tomorrow night, I will head up to Morro Bay, California, and do a show there called the Slow Funny Comedy Show. I'll do that with a few friends of mine. And then on May 6th, I will go out to Arizona to do what I most likely believe is one of these 55 and up retirement communities. So that'll be fine. And then turn around and just come back the next day. So up until May 11th, I will be here at home, hanging out, doing the home thing. You know this drill. Walking Olivia to school, hearing the tales of rocks. Oh, it's funny because she did bring the rocks thing up. She did bring it up the other day. She's like, we still haven't gotten our rocks back. So I guess they had rocks, they turned them in, and then they still have yet to get them back. And apparently it's kind of an issue with her because she brought it up that she still hasn't gotten her rocks back. But kids are good. I'll give you an update a little bit later. And as usual, like I said, nice to be at home. What I would say is relaxing, but it's not relaxing. When I'm at home, it's never relaxing. It's just getting ready to go back out again and getting the things prepared that need to be done before I leave again. So that is the case. I've got a lot of things. I'll try to get them out in a timely fashion. As was said, I spent all this time working. Just one ship to another ship. I was back on the Princess cruise line for a little bit of time there, which I will tell you, Princess has kind of grown on me. It has indeed grown on me a bit. And it just took them getting used to me, and then me, I'm still going to say it, lowering my expectations of how the accommodations is going to be. because you tie in the accommodations, which is in crew-ish areas, with how they're going to treat you. But that comes with the idea of, for lack of better terms, the previous quality and caliber of comedic talent that they've had on the ship. So when they realize that, oh, you can actually do the job and you do the job well, then they will treat you more appropriately. So as opposed to just a commodity of comedian, which is the one of the ships that I was on, where I just kept being referred to as comedian. Oh, he's the comedian, the comedian, the comedian. Like I didn't even have a first name until after I performed. And then I was Lamont. And then that was the point where I got it. I was like, all right, I don't think this is right, but I do understand it. If you've had a history of bad comics come on board the ship that just aren't doing the job, then you just expect each comic to come along to be, all right, this comedian will go up, do his crappy job, and then be off of this ship. And then someone that actually does it correctly, or, that's appealing and appeasing to the audience, then that person gets a name. Just how it works. So they have grown on me. I was on Princess. I was on Celebrity, the original ship. I was on Celebrity. I went back to that ship for about 5 days, and that was very pleasant and lovely. And then Holland. And that's the home. That's Shangri-La. Come on. You can't get any better than the reciprocal treatment I get on Holland America. I treat them as highly, and I speak them as highly as I possibly can, and they reciprocate that to me. So, you know the love I have for Holland. Let's not get all sappy. So that's all I've been doing. And then there was a little bit of actual road work. I just got back from Calgary. I was there until this past Sunday doing some road work at the Comedy Cave, which, for those that know, that's the home base in Canada, the club I've worked the most in Canada. 20 years. 20 years been coming in and out of that club in Canada. And so I was there this past week, and I got a lot of work done. That was nice for me, because I went in thinking, all right, I've not been to this club in 3 years because of the shutdown and scheduling. And that's, we had I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but they shut the world down for a couple of years. So I hadn't been in since the fall of 2019. 2019 was when the last time I was there. And when I come to a club, I like to have 20 new minutes for those folks that may be so kind to see me every year that I come through the club. So there's something different for them. Every year, there's at least 20 new minutes in the 45 minutes to an hour that I'm going to be doing on stage. Well, I hadn't been there in 3 years. So we had a shutdown. I hadn't written 20 new minutes. I had, in essence, 8 jokes. And I told them that I have 8 jokes, and then I will go to my notes where I've got premises and ideas and things I've tried once or twice that need to be fleshed out. And the idea is that I walk out of here this week with 20 new minutes. And all the audiences were on board with that. And by audiences, let's be honest, it's the Comedy Cave. It's one of the few clubs that is still running 6 days a week. I only know of one other club that is still running 6 days a week, and that club is also in Canada, and that is the Absolute Comedy in Ottawa. And the reason they do it is because there's a demand for it. The Comedy Cave does it because, well, they're like, this is what we do. So when I say audiences, I'll be honest. Monday night, we had 9 people. Tuesday night, we had 10 people. Wednesday night, there were about 40 people. And then Thursday night, it was back down to 17 people. So when I say audiences, don't think of a large, giant group. I'm saying the people that were there to view it. That still is an audience. But they were on board with going along with being part of the process to work out these things. And doggone it, if it did not work, I came out of there with 20 new minutes. 20 polished minutes that I can feel free to plug into the set that will take the place of 20 older minutes that I may or may not want to do anymore, or that, I just don't like doing anymore. So mission accomplished on that thing. But here's the point of why I bring this up, is because it had been a while since I'd been to a club. And sometimes you get a little spoiled with the treatment of working on cruise lines. Now, here's the beauty of the cruise lines. Good Lord, it's a window or a doorway to another level of show business as you make your ascension, whatever the ladder is for you in show business. From the time I leave the house until the time I get back to the house, I am under the care and financial responsibility of the cruise line. I'm like precious cargo. Every comic that works on the cruises is precious cargo. Any guest entertainer that leaves their house. So I'm leaving the house. I'm going to hop into an Uber or a cab, take it to the airport. Well, I'm going to save that receipt because I'm going to hand that receipt to the purser, and the purser is going to reimburse me for that money that I spent to get from my house to the airport. And if I grab something to eat, I'm going to also take those receipts and hand those to the purser so that they will also reimburse me for the meals on my way to everything that involves the journey to get to the ship. Because once you're on the ship, then, you have access to everything. You've got a room, you've got food, whatever you need, they've got you. And then when you leave the ship, it's the same thing. The cruise line will arrange for your ride from the ship to the airport, and that's it. You're good to go. So they will take care of you. And that type of pampering, you forget that once you get back into the quote unquote real world and start working like regular clubs, well, that's all on you. The club don't care. The club is not concerned about your trip from your house to the airport and the airport to the club. No, they don't care. Matter of fact, you're buying your own flight. Cruise line takes care of all the flights. But I'm going to Calgary. Well, I got to buy that flight. I got to purchase that flight, figure out how I'm going to get the best deal for the flight, because that's not going to be reimbursed. And then making my way from place to place. That's all on me. And you forget about that part. But it does make you appreciate the journey you have made to get to, like I said, the tier of being a guest entertainer on a cruise ship. Because there's a point where look, I'm going to tell you, honestly, I got off the plane in Calgary, and it took me an hour at the gate to be able to get off the plane because they had a staffing shortage and they couldn't find a person to drive the hallway. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not what they say. Operate the jet bridge, which they can't find somebody to drive the hallway, which makes no sense. It's a joystick. Any kid that has grown up with video games with no training whatsoever could go drive the hallway. But they couldn't. And there was a moment where I had to reflect on all this nonsense, waiting an hour to get off the plane, waiting another hour for my luggage, having, like I said, paid for my own flight and all this other stuff, where it didn't necessarily bother me. Because I took that moment of reflection to remember the many days where I went through all of that because I really needed that money. Whatever that gig was paying, I really needed. This is the weird thing about it. I went to Calgary. I had no idea what I was being paid. I know what I'm being paid. I was originally supposed to go for 2 weeks. I had an idea of what I got paid for 2 weeks. Kind of. But I cut it down to 1 week because I had something else come up. And so I brought it down to 1 week. But I still didn't know the specifics of what I was being paid. And it didn't matter to me. And like I said, there were moments many times, years, decades in my career where Not only did I know exactly what I was being paid, but I needed that money. I needed that money desperately. Whatever the net was going to be, that money was going to make a difference. So I had to take a moment to reflect upon where I am in my career and life, where not only did I not need that money, but I wasn't aware of how much money it was going to be. I was there to work. And that's a weird moment in life where you kind of take stock and notice of the milestones. And that was a milestone. It was a milestone for me to be in a gig that I didn't need to be there because I'm good. I'm doing all right. But like I said, there have been many times in my career, and I sat there in that airport waiting on that luggage thinking about all those times, all those gigs that were horrible, that I knew were not going to go well, but I had to do well, and I had to be there, and I needed that money. And there have been a couple of times where I've taken draws, and draws are advances. It's only happened twice, and I still viewed that as a failure, where before I was getting paid, I needed them to give me a little bit of money so I could either take care of a major bill or send money home to take care of something. And to be in a spot where you're out of that other spot. Let's not even say to be in a spot where I'm not in that spot anymore. Let's say that. You take a little notice. You do a little pat on the back. You go, oh, you know what? Whatever dreams you had at the beginning, maybe you wouldn't be able to be in the airport because people would be mobbing you. You know, we all have those grandeurs of fame and stuff like that. Quite honestly, when people ask me when I first started doing stand-up, they go, oh, you want to be famous? I said, no. What I want to be is able to pay my bills just like I would if I had a regular job, but I enjoyed going to this job. Being able to wake up and do something that you love doing and be able to take care of whatever things you need to take care of financially through the means of that job, as opposed to waking up every morning and going to a job you hate because you had to, and then they would pay you money to take care of your bills. That was the initial objective as a 17-year-old kid going into stand-up comedy. That was it. And now I feel like it took a while, but you're kind of there. And whatever happens after this, that's the bonus. Because this is what you got in it for, was to be able to take care of whatever it is you need to take care of by telling jokes. So that was my real reflective moment, and that's when after that I was like, I think it's time to come back. I think it's time to jump on the mic and talk to the folks with the Sometimes the Old Man is Right. One of the things I have noticed after being back is you get into a weird mindset on the ship because everyone on the ship is happy because you're on a ship. You've paid, you're going on vacation. Even me, I'm working, but I got to work, 2 nights a week? It's still work, but it's only 2 nights a week. The rest of the time I'm sailing and they're taking care of me all they want to. And then after I perform, you become the ship celebrity, one of them, because all the entertainers are, where people just come up and say kind words to you. Well, at least you hope. I mean, that's how it works. The people will say kind words to you, and then when no one says anything, you assume that they didn't like you, when it's weird. They probably didn't even see the show. So it's a weird mentality that goes on in a performer's head. But yeah, it's a decent life. So you should be in a good mood, happiness. So when you're walking along the deck, you walk and see people, it's direct eye contact. It's what it is. It's almost a small Midwest town mentality where there's direct eye contact and there's always speaking when you come in the vicinity of another human being. Good morning. How are you? Small talk, that type of deal. But I've been on the ship a while, and I had that mentality and that mindset when I was in Calgary, and then I realized, oh, you're on ship mindset and you're on land, because I was walking in the mall trying to make direct eye contact with people and then having to stop myself from saying, oh, afternoon, or how are you, or whatever it is, just speaking to people. I had to stop myself because I realized, oh, wait a minute, you're going to be the weirdo. Me talking to people and making direct eye contact on land makes me the weirdo. And I had to realize you got to get out of ship mindset. Because this is not how people on land operate. So it took a little while for that to take place. And I did kind of laugh at myself because I realized, oh yeah, you're the weirdo here. You're the oddball. When you walk by and somebody, you go, hey, how are you? And you've made direct eye contact. They've left and they thought, what's wrong with that dude? What's up with that? That dude's weird. And I realized, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. I forgot where it was. It's a weird thing to unplug and then plug back in, because I see things differently than I had before I left. And we got a lot of issues. There's a lot of anger. We got an anger issue. I'm just going to count the places I've been, which is Canada and here. Or Calgary, in Canada and here. I'm not going to count all of Canada, but I'm seeing a lot more horn honking than I recall at any point in time, especially on the West Coast. Like I understand on the East Coast, they're honking the horns more often than here, but the horn used to be a warning. The horn is like, hey, something bad's about to happen. Look out. I may crash into you. It's a heads up. It's a warning. But now, even in Canada, where I don't even recall if I ever heard a horn honk, but I was there for a week and I heard quite a bit of honking. Just people at an intersection, someone not moving fast enough, honking. And here at home, it happens all the time. A lot of honking. There just seems to be a lot of anger. We got a mental health issue. Crisis is what it is. We kept people inside too long. I know a lot of people are talking about, oh, it's the pandemic and people were locked up, but it's not just that. I don't think if they were just locked up that they would come out of the house with anger issues. If you were just locked up for a year and a half or whatever it is, you wouldn't come out with anger issues. You would come out with a relief. You would come out with oh my goodness, I'm so happy to be able to see and interact with other people because I've been deprived from being able to do that. Besides that, we weren't locked up for 2 years. I came back to work in November of last year? So November of 21, I came back to work. The shutdown, last time I had worked was February 17th of 2020. So I guess a little bit short of 2 years, but we were able to go out. So it's not like they were locked up. I think it's a combination. It's a perfect storm that, for lack of better words, broke us mentally, broke society mentally. All the people that made all the decisions and in charge of trying to navigate us through this pandemic and this crisis with the coronavirus and people getting sick and stuff like that, they all had a hand in breaking us because no one stepped up and said, what are the psychological factors that this is all going to take its toll on the average human mind? You went from one thing to another thing very suddenly without a lot of information. Then the information kept changing. And then at the end, they just threw you out and was like, okay, go back to normal. And people are broken. People were not mentally prepared to handle that. And this is why all the anger has taken place. Well, all that time, they tried the whole mantra of we're all in this together. And really, come on, we saw how that worked. Nothing had a more opposite effect on people than we're all in this together. The more they said that, the more people kept thinking, oh yeah, I know what you're saying. Get mine. I'm in this by myself. For some reason, that message did not translate to people to get through their heads, because we are like the worst team in the league. If this was a sports team, we'd be the worst. We're all trying to get our 30 points and 15 rebounds. And meanwhile, we're losing every game by a lot. So what we should have done is a little messaging, like we did when we were kids, people that are my age, with the Schoolhouse Rock, where they taught you stuff, conjunctions and adverbs and how to do the multiplication and stuff. They just ran that stuff. We need a mental health campaign for that, is what we need. We need a mental health campaign that just says, hey, you don't need to be that angry. Everyone take a breath. Just relax. We're going to get through this. You're going to be okay. Whatever you can say that avoids saying we're all in this together, because those are the words that trigger people. But something that lets them know that we're a team. And people honking their horn. What's that going to do? Why? Because, like I said, the horn used to be a warning. And now the horn is just an extension. It's your way of using profanity through the car, is all it is. Every time you honk the horn, fuck you, fuck off, fucking asshole. That's all the horn is saying. Every single time. Rarely, remember you could just kind of tap on it. It's an excuse me thing. Nobody's doing the excuse me. It's all fuck you, fuck off, fuck you, fuckity fuck, fucker, fuck. That's all we're using the horn for. And we got issues, man. And I don't know how we get out of this. Because like I said, it'd be one thing if people were just locked up, just couldn't go anywhere. But that's not what happened. We had a lockdown, confusion, messaging confusion, and then we had divisiveness with Trump and the Trump people and the people against Trump. And all of this went on while we couldn't go anywhere. And like I said, it broke people. People still, even though Fauci said we're out of the pandemic stage, and that's another thing. Like the fact that I just said Fauci said we're out of the pandemic stage, I know that's going to upset some people that I referred to Fauci as being an authority on this particular thing. I really wish there was more of a panel. Like there was just a group. The CDC botched this whole thing because they didn't know how to message. But if we had a panel where the panel said, and we didn't have to say Fauci, because people, man, Fauci's become the villain in this thing. So many people hate this dude. This dude is just trying to do his job. And so many folks hate this dude. I've told you about friends of mine that believe that he's the Antichrist. Him and Bill Gates. I would have said that it's anyone that gives anyone authority, people will have a backlash against that person. And I used to say that if they had money, they'd get a pass. But Bill Gates doesn't get a pass, and Bill Gates has money. So he's that blows that theory. But they hate Fauci. So even me saying, hey, Fauci said we're out, people are like, oh, forget that dude, Fauci. That guy's an asshole, blah, 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 whatever. But the experts, how about I say that? The experts say that we are out of the pandemic phase. So we're being shoved out. All right, well, now it's a control phase. We try to figure this out. What goes on next? What's the next step? But there are people who have been feared to paralysis where they won't even leave the house. Like I said, Howard Stern ain't ever leaving the house. Howard Stern is never leaving his house because he is in that fear mode where I can't go out and people are going to get sick and something because we sat there and watched this thing go on too long. And this is a lot of people. A lot of people will not leave their house. And mentally, we got broken because no one figured that, hey, maybe we should figure out the mental aspect of this. Maybe, like I said, maybe we'll fix it. I highly doubt it. We're not playing as a team. This is a horrible team. What America's become. This is the 86 Mets is what we are. Although, no, the 86 Mets did win. But still, as far as a horrible team goes, this is what we've become, man. Just a bad team fighting in the clubhouse. We can't come to an agreement on anything whatsoever. You got one side that is yelling and screaming this, and another side's yelling and screaming that. And there's some of us that sit in the middle that just go, look, we just want to go about our day. Can we do that? And no one will let you do that. There's nothing you can do. So as I said, I was in Canada last week, got work done. That was very nice. It was nice to be in a good creative space, like just within myself. I'm in a good creative space and a nice spot to be able to walk up in front of an audience, whether it be 9 or whether it be more than 9, and just know that I kind of know what I'm doing. I will never claim to be absolutely in control of stand-up to where I understand it. I've said this many, many times to many, many folks that I have the same respect for stand-up comedy that a fireman has for fire. And I can understand it to whatever degree it is that understanding comes. But I know for an absolute fact I will never be able to control it. So there is never a point where I know that I'm going to walk up on stage and go, oh, this will be great. I know this will be good. This will be fantastic. No, because that's when it'll blow up. You got to be able to have the respect for it, that it is like fire. So I know how to control it. I know how to steer it. I know how to not know how to control it, but I know how to steer it, and I know how to work alongside of it, use it to my advantage. But the ability to be able to control the atmosphere that is comedy, I know I'll never be able to do that. And I know that no one can do that. Chappelle will have a bad set. Rock will have a bad... We all will have bad sets. Yes, I did include myself in there when I said we. We all, as comics, will have bad sets. No matter what your experience is. Because it is a fluid part of the equation. I've said this many, many times. The one thing that is the close to the constant is you. If you're looking at this as an empirical formula or as a mathematical equation, you are the constant. The comic is the constant. Your job, your objective is to get laughs. The audience is not the constant because the audience itself is made up of a lot of moving parts. And those moving parts all affect what the audience is. You don't know what those moving parts are. Somebody could have just, hey, I got fired from my job. Hey, I just found out some horrible health news. Or I just found that, and then other people coming in that, oh man, I just heard great news. Well, all those things mix together, and that makes the audience. You can't look at the audience as being, oh, that's the one constant thing. I've seen many comics that are always like, oh no, it's always the comic. The audience is there for a good time. Not necessarily. Even last week in Calgary, I had a guy come up to me after the show and he goes, you know what? I had a horrible day. And he said, I'm 70 years old. I just turned 70 and I had a really bad day. And you helped turn that day around. And I thanked him for that. But that's one of the parts of the equation of an audience. That dude came in off of a shitty day. What? On the hopes that miraculously a stranger will help turn that day around? The reason why he came over is because that did happen. But had it not happened, he wouldn't have said, oh, it's that comic's fault. We'd all known that, well, dude, you came in a bad mood. And it just didn't get any better. So that idea that it's, like I said, I have the respect for that, but it's nice to be in this space. There was a moment on one of the shows where the audience didn't really react. There were 5 comics in front of me. And the audience, they laughed, but it didn't have a feel that it was an audience, that they were together, that they were a cohesive unit. And then I went up with the idea of, okay, well, we'll just see how this goes. And I did the same approach that I had prior, saying we're going to work on these jokes and that's what's going to happen. And at the end, I came off and thought, that didn't feel any different than any other set that I had done all week. But it did feel different than what I'd been watching on how they reacted to how the audience had reacted to the previous comics. And those comics weren't bad comics. They were all decent comics. So there was a point where I was like, well, just maybe I'm in a good space. Maybe I'm in a good frame of mind to be able to flow and let the whatever, I don't want to get all crazy metaphysical, but whatever energy they are coming, it is able to flow through me and then return that same even-keeled energy back to them. And then we all just kind of have a good time and get through it together. But it was nice. It was nice to be able to work, like I said, and do stuff. So tomorrow night, go up to Morro Bay, figure that out. That should be fun. Like I said, working with a couple of friends of mine. I bring this up because, some of the work I have done just during the pandemic, just to get the creative stuff out of me, was the Now Normal, that short-lived show that I would produce and create and produce it from here at the house. Or the little segments of What I'm Saying Is, which is something that still should be going on, but it took 2 weeks for me to come back when I said I was going to come back. So eventually I'll get around to that too. I don't know what makes people view things on YouTube, but let's just take it back. I don't know what makes people view my things on YouTube, because I have an idea. I'll write it out. I'll execute it. I'll shoot it. I'll edit it. I'll throw it up on YouTube, and then it's out of my system. That's how it works. It's like an itch. I want to be productive. I want to get this done. Let me do it. And now it's gone. It's out in the ether. It's out in the universe for people to view. You view it. You don't view it. I don't care, really, to tell you the truth. I appreciate the people that do view. But I have a modest idea of what the numbers are going to be. Like, I throw it out and I'm like, oh, look, 20 people viewed it. Okay, that's cool. There's 20 people out there. I'm not looking for giant numbers because I'm not expecting that. But there have been some stuff that I put up. Because I would do is I put the entire episode up, and then I cut down the segments and then throw little segments up, because I know people have short attention spans. They don't want to watch a full 25, 28-minute show. So I'll throw up little segments. But of late, people have been finding these segments. They found them from time to time, and then they'll start commenting. And normally I have a rule. I just don't get engaged on the comments. Or I don't engage in the comments, because it's a you can't win situation. There's never anybody that's ever got involved in the Facebook or any type of social media comment thread where somebody goes, yeah, you know what? You've changed my mind. No, there's no winners. It's only a lose. It's a lose-lose situation. You're going to get mad. They're going to get mad. So I don't. But what I will do is, if somebody does take the time to comment, usually if it's something positive or if they ask a question, then I will take the time, because I do appreciate their time. That is a big thing. Time is the only commodity with which we live by that is very finite. People put a lot of emphasis on money, but think about money in your life. It comes and it goes. The only thing, time goes. That's all it does, is go. It does not come. There's never been a point where you've been awarded extra time. That doesn't exist. So it only leaves. So if someone takes the time to put a comment, a compliment, or something, I will take the time to go ahead and address that, because they took the time to watch and to comment. But recently, on one of the segments about Black Lives Matter, and I have to go back, to tell you the truth, and watch the segment to see if the message I'm trying to convey is the right message. Because what happens is, I will write something, shoot something, put it up, and then I won't look at it again. I'm done. I moved on. So sometimes I have to go back and look and see. So I may have to go back. But this has been getting a couple of comments of late. Someone commented saying that the message from the Black Lives Matter organization is a bit dodgy and conflicting with what they'd like to put out into the black community. I'm assuming this was a black person. And then I had to tell them that I'm not talking about the organization because I've never been with the organization. I will talk about the movement and the essence at the core of those three words, that Black Lives Matter. In essence, what they're saying is Black Lives Matter also. Really, but that doesn't fit. You wouldn't start a chant with Black Lives Matter also. That sounds silly. So they say Black Lives Matter. And people who can put two thoughts together understand that. It's these jackasses that can't put two thoughts together, which are in abundance in this society, that can't. So I explained to that person this, and then they understood it. They got it. They gave me a little thumbs up. They liked the reply. Next day after that, someone chimed in with a stop spreading the hate and the division. All lives matter. They hit me with an all lives matter. I was set back for a moment. I was like, wow, I've heard about this. I've heard about the all lives matter, but I've yet to experience it in real life. And so them hitting me with the all lives matter then brought me to the idea of we still don't get it. And I didn't think that we did. It's not like I'm Pollyanna where I'm believing that, oh, everything has been cured and settled just because people haven't talked about it anymore. All those idiots, the racist idiots that bring up the rebuttal and the rebuke and the retort of all lives matter, they didn't just go away, and they didn't just come to the decision and go, you know what, they're right. No, they just went silent and still continued their racist, shitty lives is all they did. But every so often they'll pop up, and that's what just happened here, is that this person decided to pop up. So they go with the all lives matter. They post that. Now, I am currently watching a show. It's weird. I got into a show that I didn't know existed. I thought it was brand new. Turns out the show is 6 years old on Hulu. Now, here's a thing about this. We have all these unnecessary laws. A lot of them are unnecessary. A lot of them make no sense whatsoever. There's no reason for them to be around. Remember when the big deal was the television commercials had to be the same volume as the program? That was a thing, and they like, oh, we finally passed this law. Well, it's the dumbest thing because no one is going to be able to prosecute that. No one's going to be able to do anything about it. The onus is on us, the viewer, to be taping and complaining and documenting that, oh, this television commercial was much louder than the previous commercial. And how is that going to be proven if whatever it is you were watching? I mean, they'll end up, a lawyer will take it and start blaming it on your television set. No one's going. So we went through a whole bunch of nothing for nothing, or a whole bunch of something for nothing. Yet there are things that take place where they should be laws. I find lawyers to be loophole finders. That's why there's so much backlash and anger against them, is because they're loophole finders. Like I said, on that whole thing about finding the volume, they would find a loophole. You know what? This manufacturer's television is set to a different thing, so my client is not guilty. If you want to bring a suit against whomever, Samsung, then you can do that. But good luck with that. But this is not against my client who's the programmer of this thing. So you can't, that's what they do. There's a law, I'm sure, that states that you have to have disclaimers for different products. So what did the lawyers do? They found a loophole telling those companies, well, there's no law against what speed you have to say it. So you've seen disclaimers or heard them on the radio where they were done at 78 RPM. Like no one can even understand what they're saying. But in essence, they follow the law because they have said the words. Same thing happens on TNT. You ever watch TNT and there's a movie on TNT and then they run the credits at light speed after that? You can't see it. It's a blur. But hey, we ran the credits. You didn't say what speed. So that's what lawyers will do with loopholes on stuff. So anyway, I'm watching Hulu. The only reason I have Hulu is because I had paused my subscription. This is a loophole thing. And they didn't tell me when it was going to be up. Now, I know the onus is on me to be able to figure it out. I'm the one that did it. But would it kill you? Would it be part of a problem? Did you have a little courtesy of letting people know when this thing is up so that they can, okay, hey, I can keep this or cancel it? No. So I'm watching Hulu. There's a show on there. The show, as I said, I thought was brand new. It's called 11/22/63. 11/22/63. It has James Franco, who I like, even though I don't know if I'm supposed to like him. Was he canceled? Did he cancel himself? I can't keep up with the woke culture. Also, Chris Cooper's in there, who I really enjoy. So it's time travel, it's sci-fi. Those are the two things I really enjoy. If you got time travel and sci-fi in your show, I'm in. I will tune in, whatever it is. I like it all. There was a show called The Journeyman. I know that one show, Quantum Leap, that was the one show I really couldn't get into. I really wasn't into Quantum Leap. I watched a couple of episodes here and there, but I was into Journeyman. I was in time travel. I'm all in. There's a whole bunch of other shows, but I'm watching this show, and it brings me to this point about believe me, I'm tying this all in with the All Lives Matter, because they stay true to form. He travels back in time to stop the assassination of JFK. But he gets there in 1960. So he has to live there for 3 years to try and stop this assassination. But they are true to form as to what took place in the 60s. And there's a lot of segregation. There's a lot of race tension that takes place, and how the N-word is just thrown around freely by white folks there. And this is in Texas. An idea that a black woman tries to get gas from a gas station, and they're like, oh no, the nigger station is on the other side of town. So I bring this up because of the fact that this is 1960, 61, 62, somewhere around there. And I'm wondering, where's the All Lives Matter rebuttal? Where's that? Because it doesn't exist. Somehow all lives only mattered 2 years ago when someone said Black Lives Matter. That's when it existed. Because in the 60s, that's the 60s. That's not ancient history. I was born in 1965. This is a depiction of 1962. So where were All Lives Matter then? This goes back to a Louis C.K. joke, which is very funny, where he says, man, it's great to be white because you can travel anywhere in historical time and be all right. And he's absolutely right. Think about that. If I'm black and I want to time travel, how far back can I go before there's a serious danger of me getting killed? I'd have to travel, last week? Maybe that? Maybe I could travel back to last week. But no, in real thing, you could, a few decades you could go back. White folks can travel back to any point in time. So I'm not even 60 yet, and I still can only go back maybe 15 years in history where it'll be all right for me. But I can't go back to 1960 where the nigger station, fueling station, is a mile across the tracks. And if I run out of gas, I can't get gas at this station. So had there been All Lives Matter for all of time, where was this? When did this take place? All you people that want to send that retort out about All Lives Matter. All Lives Mattered like, 2 years ago, I guess is when it was. That's the funniest part to me, is that all lives mattered when it existed 2 years ago. Because there was no movement 15 years ago. All lives didn't matter 20 years ago. They only mattered 2 years ago. So it would be fascinating to try to explain to these idiots with a negative IQ, because you can't debate them. You can't reason with them because their heads are so far up their racist ass that there's nothing they can listen to but their own shit. So when somebody says this, I don't even want to speak to them, because they're telling me everything I need to know about them. Forget the fact that they're racist and they're trying to hold on to their precious whiteness. It also tells me that they're too stupid to be able to comprehend any amount of sentences that are about to come their way. So why even bother is the case. There comes a point where I know people where it's almost a point where they don't believe anything is racist unless they've heard the N-word. So if a black person complains, or any minority complains that something was racist, you'd have to say, well, did they say the N-word? Then they would go, oh, okay, then yeah, that was probably racist. But anything short of that, they don't see it. My friend that was complaining about something in baseball was what it was. And I was like, okay, fine. I don't argue. I don't argue anymore about anything. I don't even go into the discussion because there's too much talking, not enough listening. My thought is all the time is when somebody who is white and has never dealt with any type of racial discrimination, listen more, talk less. Instead of being able to be so reactive as to why you believe what they're saying is not racist, how about listening to them as to why they believe it is? Then maybe you'd have a better understanding. This from Hamilton. Talk less, listen more. We could all use a little bit more of that because there's too many people that are not in the position or ever been in the position that are willing to spout their theories on something that they have nothing in common with. There's no tangible point in their life that they've had to be able to deal with this whatsoever. I see it all the time. Of course, you see it on social media, but it is so funny when somebody will say, well, I don't know what they are complaining about. Yeah, because they aren't you and you aren't them. So you'll never have an idea as to what they are complaining about, but maybe listen to them. Then maybe you'll understand. I don't know. I don't know why that's so doggone difficult. All right. I think it's about time to start winding down. It's a good episode to come back. I was a little fired up about stuff, and I got all the fired up out of me. I think I got all the fired up out of me. I don't know what I was trying to say prior to that. There was a whole bunch of words that took place, but I think I got most of the fired up out of me. The kids are well. All the children are well. Walking Olivia back and forth to school. No updates on any rocks or anything like that. It's just regular TikTok type of YouTube video world is what's going on. So that's normal, steady as she goes. News for Noah. Noah's got the driving lessons going on, and I know it's late. He's nearly 20 years old, but that, you know what? Mind your own business. We do what we do over here. People are like, hey, how come he doesn't have a how come you're in my business? How come you're making judgments on me? That's what I say. So I paid for the license, or paid for the lessons for Noah to get driving lessons. It's a pretty steep price, you know. I don't know why we took that out of the schools, but that's an old man talking and complaining about stuff. But that would have been nice to be able to have that in school. But I guess whatever caused the cutbacks on that decades ago. Again, I think it stems from property taxes is what it is. So we had to take the money out of somewhere. Why not the education? Why not the school system? So I paid for those, and then so Noah has had the 5 lessons, and now we're going to go through with the whole just getting used to driving before he takes the driver's test, and hopefully he'll pass that, and then he'll be a licensed driver. Of course, the way things work now, it's bizarre because it's almost as if they're only getting drivers prepared to take the test, as opposed to teaching drivers how to drive. And those are two different things. This is much like Black Lives Matter organization and Black Lives Matter movement, where the nuances are very different, and you got to be able to see them. And they're subtle, but they're there. And once you see the subtlety of them, then you realize, oh, no, they're not subtle. They're actually huge. So the idea of getting someone ready to drive and having someone prepared to pass the driver's tests are two very different things. And if you had them driving out amongst you, then you'd realize how different they were. It seemed like that was the essence of the lessons, was to get him prepared to pass the driver's test as opposed to have him prepared to drive. So now he's done with the lessons, and we will take a little bit of time to get him prepared to drive and then get his license, or at least take the test and go from there. But that's the update. Noah's about to hit the roads and be a licensed driver on the roads in some time. I don't know when that time will be, but in some time. Folks, you know what I did today? This is odd. We'll wrap this up in this way. So I went and got myself a breakfast burrito today, and I purchased something along with the breakfast burrito that gave me a little flashback to nostalgia. The Orange Bang. I have not purchased an Orange Bang in I don't know how long. I've not had an Orange Bang. And I'm surprised that they still have the Orange Bang. I remember when the Orange Bang first came onto the scene. That's how old I am. It was in the Jimco. That's how far back you got to go, is to the Jimco, which it may have even been Fedco, because Fedco was before Jimco, I believe is how it worked. But I think that's where the little snack shop in either Fedco or Jimco, that they go, look, we got Orange Bang. And I remember as a kid asking my mom or my grandmother, oh, we got to try the Orange Bang. It's a weird drink. You know, it's orange. That's henceforth the orange part. And then I don't know what the bang part is. I don't know if the bang is the frothy stuff that made it seem like it was a shake at the top or what, but it wasn't orange juice and it wasn't orange drink, which would lead to the name of why they call it Orange Bang, because it's not orange juice and it's not orange drink, but it is definitely Orange Bang. I remember they tried Strawberry Bang. Not as effective as Orange Bang. Not as good. Something lost in the whole bang process for the Strawberry Bang. But I purchased an Orange Bang today. And I'm good. I think it'll be another 30 years before I have any type of craving or desire for another Orange Bang. It's about every 30-year drink is what the Orange Bang is. So, anyway, that is it. I got to get ready to go to Morro Bay tomorrow. Then Arizona next week. And then back on a ship on May the 12th, cruising through New England. That'll be nice. I'm looking forward to that. That is Fort Lauderdale up to Boston to Maine, Nova Scotia, end in Montreal. So that'll be a new part of the world that I've not seen via cruise ship. So I am looking forward to that. I thank you fine folks for tuning in. As always, it's nice to be back. It's nice to talk to you. I was going to say hear you, but I don't hear you because that would be even crazier. All things Lamont Ferguson can be found at lamontferguson.com. I mean, I am slowly but surely working on updating that website, but it takes a lot of, time. And time is that commodity. So you can find it there. Anything you need, lamontferguson.com. You can email the show at theoldmanisright@gmail.com. Hey, you can go check out any of that stuff on the internet that was done earlier in the pandemic, and maybe you can throw up your comments and take a look out. I'll go take a look at it too to see what I was up to. Like I told you, the two shows are The Now Normal and What I'm Saying Is. That's on YouTube. I don't know what it. Just look for me on YouTube, Lamont Ferguson. I'm not even sure what the channel is on my YouTube thing. So you can check out all that stuff. Other than that, I think that's about a wrap. Monday, the Good Green Room with Lewis Johnson. That's still going strong. So I'll be doing that on Mondays. Check it out. Tune in. Do what you need to do. I appreciate all of you. I talked about a bit of stuff here today. And I know some of the people think, this guy's a little crazy. This guy's out there. He's covered a whole wide variety, a cornucopia, if it were. Veritable cornucopia. Is that the phrase? I'm not even sure. But I know I've talked long enough. Some of the things I've got a good point about. You know how it works as you get older. Because I'm about to even get older. Because, got the birthday coming up on May 1st. And then I think I'll be I think I'm still in a box. I still got good boxes left. I still have 3 boxes left in my lifetime. Or maybe it's only 2. I think I got 2 boxes left. But, sometimes I'm just talking a bunch of nonsense. But sometimes the old man is right. I'll see you next week.